Okay, so you read the title of this video and you're probably thinking, yeah, I feel this way. You've been playing Pokemon games for ages and you've just gotten bored with the challenge. So what have you decided? You've started doing Nuzlocke challenges. Good for you, I enjoy them myself. But now Nuzlocke challenges are just not doing it for you. Every time you start a new Nuzlocke on a different Pokemon game, it feels so much the same. What can I do to mix it up even more and add more challenge and fun to my playstyle? Well, I'm gonna give you 5 handy ways that you can make your Nuzlocks that little bit better. I'm TheXploder, welcome to the channel, and let's get kicking. So first suggestion for your Nuzlocke, have you considered randomizing? Randomizing is when you take any of the Pokemon games, put it through a randomizer program that can literally change anything and everything, and then you're playing a seeded version of your run that has all sorts changed. You could have your starters randomized, their moves randomized, their typings randomized, the TMs that you get given after beating gym leaders randomized, their evolutions randomized, their stats randomized. The list goes on and on and on. So the first step I would recommend when you want to make your Nuzlocke that little bit tougher, try randomizing the game. Just hit the random button, put it through a randomizer, and there you go. Now this won't be a tutorial on how to actually set up your randomizer. For that I would highly recommend searching up some other videos on YouTube. They'll go into more detail for you for specific randomizations on specific Pokemon games. But this will be the first step in making things a little bit more different. I will say though, do this with caution, because if you randomize too much, you may find out it's too much of a jumbled mess. Randomize what you want to randomize. Don't just randomize everything blanket and expect to have fun. Like for me, for example, if I randomize Pokemon typings, I don't like it so much anymore, because then trying to work out what Pokemon are weak to with your Pokemon and their random moves and their random typings, it can go all over the place. So do it in moderation, don't go too over the top. But randomizing, great way to start. Number 2 for you, have you considered doing a type lock or restricting what Pokemon you're allowed to catch by imposing a typing rule to yourself? Typing rules are very straightforward. Effectively, you go into your Nuzlocke on whatever game you're playing and you are only allowed to use Pokemon of that type. To make it easier, and if you're not running a type lock that's linked to fire, water and grass types, because as we know, every start of every game is a fire, water and grass type, you can mix it up a little bit more and integrate this with your randomizer to randomize the starter Pokemon and actually preset starters of your starting typing to give you 3 options that will be interesting for yourself to start out with, and then from there, we're even randomizing the game if you wish to heighten your chances of finding Pokemon of your type. Again, this won't be for everyone, but it adds a little extra element on top. I personally like type lokes. I think type lokes are they're that little bit more challenging on top of what you already have, and depending on what type you have versus what game you're playing, this can amp up the challenge even higher. It's a really good consideration. Number 3, boys only, as I like to call it. You may be thinking, what the heck do you mean by boys only? What I mean by that is, you have to make a specific list of Pokemon that are your favorites. I would highly recommend at least doing a top 10, if not top 20, or maybe even a top 30 Pokemon if you're not too comfortable doing this on the get-go. And I would highly recommend combining this with your randomizer with a higher chance of finding the mon on your list. The reason why you do this is because you're only playing with a Pokemon that you have a personal favoritism towards, and you're sharing that love with, obviously, the games that you're playing. This is specifically a very interesting challenge for those who do YouTube and even live stream, because it adds a little extra element, because now you're playing with Pokemon that you already know are your personal favorites, and now the trick is, you're going to feel a lot more attached to these Pokemon because you already love them so much, whether it be their movesets, their designs, what they evolve into, etc. And because we have, over 600 Pokemon now, slimming it down to about 10, 20 or even 30 Pokemon is still a challenge, especially when you randomize the games, making it an extra little twist on a classic. Number 4, and one of my personal favorites and something I'm currently doing over on Twitch. Have you considered animal-based challenges. For this one, you specifically, instead of doing a type loc, for example, where you're picking a specific type and all the Pokemon under that typing, now you're picking a specific animal, and every Pokemon that looks like or is categorically known as that animal. So for example, you could do a rodent loc, where you're able to use mice, rats, pigeons, or anything along those lines that come within the rodent category, and then you can only use them in your Nuzlocke and see how you go. This personally is one of my favorite choices. The reason is, if you have a favorite animal and it's well or not even well represented in a Pokemon game, you can really just push this to the edge. The thing I will say though, if you are doing an animal based challenge, and let's say you only have 5 or 6 choices of Pokemon that you can pick from, kind of like what I'm doing in my Shepherd challenge at the moment, the best thing I would recommend is imposing a rule where in the Nuzlocke, obviously you can only catch 1 Pokemon per route as you go through the game. The ruling I changed for this one specifically, if you have a very tiny pool of Pokemon that you can get from, is that you set up the very first route in your game to only have those Pokemon that you're allowed to use. And whenever a Pokemon faints when you're out and about in the world, yes, they do count as dead. You either put them in the box or release them, but you can capture as many of this animal as you want, as long as you go all the way back to Route 1 and grind them all the way back up to where you are again. Adds an extra little element to a challenge where you're changing it to make it a little bit more better gameplay wise, but you know when you lose a Mon, not just are you heartbroken with the connection you had with it, but at the same time you're thinking, oh my god, I need to go back to Route 1 and replenish all of my losses. This is why I recommend when you start off with any more than 5 balls, use all of your balls to capture as many as you want, put them in the box, and you have a surplus ready to go. And lastly but not least, number 5. Are you running Nuzlocke on hard mode? Now you might be thinking, but Nuzlocks are already quite hard mode. What do you mean? I mean some very subtle changes to the Nuzlocke to add extra elements of toughness. Because you're here for difficulty, right? You want the game to be punishing if you're that kind of player. And yet you may not have your settings set up, or may not imposing certain rules on yourself to make it challenging, or as challenging as you specifically want it to be. What I recommend is, if you want to run on hard mode settings, you run your Pokemon game on set mode. This means that after you defeat a Pokemon in a trainer battle, and the trainer has 2 or 3 more Pokemon left over, you cannot actively switch your Pokemon through that time. You have to let their Pokemon come in. You have to switch during the battle itself, and that can add a lot of different elements of gripping and tight and tough battles ahead. But on top of that, impose one certain rule on yourself to make it an extra bit more challenging. No healing in battles, whether it's a random encounter, a trainer encounter, a gym encounter, the Elite Four, you name it. If your Pokemon is on very critical health, you cannot heal yourself. But if that Pokemon survives the fight and you win the fight, you can heal that Pokemon all the way up prior to the next one. This adds the extra difficulty layer that you're probably after. You have no idea how overpowered healing items are in Pokemon until you realize that when you're using potions, super potions, hyper potions, full restores, that it kind of chumps it out. Removing that just makes things even more insane. Trust me, try it out. And those are 5 ways where you can mix up your Nuzlocks to make them that little bit more tough. But before we end here, I want to place a challenge on you guys. If you watch this video and you're inspired to either try your very first Nuzlocke or even using some of these elements to create a brand new Nuzlocke run for yourself, then here's my challenge to you. If you live stream on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Gaming or anywhere else, or if you make YouTube content, or even if you're just Nuzlocking on a casual level and you're not recording it or putting it out anywhere, let me know how your run is going. Go to my social media channels, send me your VODs, your Twitch links, your YouTube video links. Let me know how your run is going and how your challenge is going. Or if you've completed these challenges in the past and you've already tried some of these, or if you've tried these and you've come back to the video after trying them out, why don't you post in the comment section below what your experiences are, or any other ways you would make Nuzlocks even harder. But with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the video for today. Speaking of which, and as I was saying in the video, yes, I'm live streaming on Twitch, and at the moment of recording this video, I'm doing my own Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge for charity, where I'm only allowed to use sheep Pokemon. Because the sheep! So if you want to check that out, I live stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays over on Twitch in the evenings, GMT time. Come on over, give me a follow. Updates are on my Discord server, where all my social links and Discord bits, by the way, down in the description below. Come on over, have a laugh, and let's get going. Before we also end here, be sure to subscribe, follow, click that notification bell and all the jazz in between. I'll catch you guys there for another video. Until then, stay explosive. See you then.